for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Caregiver Solution Info Show. I'm so glad that you are with us today. We have another wonderful program for you. So this program is for family caregivers, people that care for others who can't care for themselves, especially dementia patients. We focus on dementia, memory loss, Alzheimer's disease, lots of different types of dementia, and their caregivers. It's a special segment of the population that really needs to have an advocate and a caregiver when someone does become diagnosed with some form of dementia. So this show has been 7 years training, coaching, teaching caregivers and others all about how to care for someone with Alzheimer's disease and also how to care for the person caring for that person, you, the family caregiver. So as a caregiver, if you've been a caregiver for any length of time, I bet one of the things that frustrates you and is probably a problem that you haven't been able to resolve is that you are not getting enough sleep. Now, a lot of us don't get enough sleep for various reasons. People that have a lot of things on their plate, a very busy lifestyle. Some people don't require as much sleep as others. But as we get older, we slow down, and sometimes we don't really require as much sleep. But sleep is one of the most important things that we all can do good for our body and our mind. And so one of the things that caregivers seem to always say is that, I don't sleep well. I'm always listening with one ear open or one eye open at night when my loved one is at home, waiting for them to get up in the middle of the night, go to the kitchen. I'm afraid they're going to get themselves in trouble with the stove or with the knives or whatever might still be available to them. And they don't get enough sleep because they're always worrying. They have a lot of stress. They can't settle their mind down. So we're going to talk about sleep today. Sleep is really something that, again, is more important than we realize, because sleep is where our brain kind of recharges itself and gets rid of all the things we don't need to remember and helps store the things that we do need to remember. And so today I have a very special person with us. Her name is Marlene Davenport. Marlene is a pharmacist, and she is joining us live from her home office in Pensacola, Florida. And she's here today to talk to us about sleep. Welcome, Marlene, to the show.
Hey, Marcia, thank you for having me here. Is the sound okay?
Yep, you're good.
Good. Yeah, excited about sharing these minutes with you and your public. Happy to be here.
Well, good. Now, you are many things. Besides a pharmacist, you're an entrepreneur, a teacher, even a life and health coach, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But I want people to know that you were born in Ecuador, where you graduated from pharmacy school as a doctor of biochemistry and pharmacy, and you owned and operated a chain of 9 pharmacies before coming to the United States. And so you do have the qualifications to talk about medicine, to talk about what we're going to be discussing today, and also the fact that you are a family caregiver because in Ecuador your mom has also some dementia. So you understand what caregivers are going through, and you understand about lack of sleep, and you understand not only the physical part of it but the biological part of it too, with how it affects us. So start thinking about sleep. People don't know the importance sometimes of sleep or the lack of that can actually affect us. So I want to go ahead and talk to everyone today about why exactly is sleep so important to everyone?
Yeah, sleep is important because sleep touches every cell in our body. Sleep uh, affects every area of our life. Uh, you know, with when we sleep well, you know that everyone knows that you are more productive the following day. You are in a good mood. You are more creative, and because when you sleep, your body recharges, like you recharge your phone. Your mind resets. Your brain uh, is ready for a new day for a job. So what happens now with the technology era, that we spend a lot of time with the lights and TV and video games, and we think for some reason that it provides us with relaxation. But actually, when it is at night, it just suppresses our melatonin, which is the hormone, the sleep hormone, and then we don't have a proper sleep. Many of my clients complain about being tired and not having enough sleep. And actually, did you know that half of Americans complain about not having good sleep, and half of Americans complain about always being tired?
I tend to agree with you. Lately, it seems like all my associates and friends are just always telling me how tired they are and how they haven't slept. And I don't know, really if it's a phase or what's going on. But you're right. People are their lifestyles are different too, and with technology, as you mentioned, and keeping us up later at night, and we're always afraid we're going to miss something if we're not, paying attention to the phone or the TV. But you mentioned that people have trouble sleeping, and I think at one point in people's lives, they're always going to have a time where maybe they have trouble sleeping. Is it okay if someone doesn't have a good night of sleep once in a while?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is very important because many people get anxious because they don't have a good sleep 1 or 2 nights. And what happens is that sometimes we have a deadline. Sometimes we're going through some processes like a divorce or the death of a loved one. Many stressors that can prevent us from sleeping well, and people have the false expectation that sleep well is to put your head in the on the pillow and wake up the following day. It happens many times, but not always. And we don't have to hurry up and get medications to sleep well. But we can watch what's going on. Maybe we are too worried about our finances, too worried about, study for young people. And so if we address the stressors, what is causing our anxiety, then we can work on that. And sometimes our body itself, one bad night of sleep, and then we catch up. But if we give ourselves time to sleep, but if we are watching TV or until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and we have to get up with an alarm at 6 o'clock, we are not giving ourselves time. And it's been said that humans are the only species that look for any excuse to deprive themselves from sleep.
Well, you're right. I think sometimes people don't plan for enough sleep, and that could be one problem. They're not actually planning for good sleep. But are they too quick sometimes to run to the store and get an over-the-counter medication? And if they do use those over-the-counter medications, do they work? Can they help you? Or are they eventually detrimental to someone's sleep cycle?
Yeah, that is something that called my attention. I started researching about, because melatonin is a drug that is allowed in the United States. Over the counter. Even though the FDA is against the use of melatonin, unless prescribed by a doctor, but I personally don't, but allow the United States. And actually, melatonin is only, I think, melatonin is sold only with countries like France, United Kingdom, Germany. Melatonin is only sold because it has side effects. Using longer kids can delay the concentration if it is and also that take patrick alcohol, that take benzodiazepine, interact with people that have sleep disorders. Lots of people with immunodeficiency. So, and also also have side effects. Sometimes they work for a even though they cause tolerant, but over time it doesn't work as well. They don't fix the root of the problem. They need to go up, and they look for the deep drugs that actually have very bad side effects.
Yeah, I know. Just like anything else, even over-the-counter medications have side effects. People don't really realize that something even as simple as an ibuprofen can actually have side effects over time, because it can cause, stomach problems and ulcers and things like that. So everything has side effects. This is so interesting. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to learn more from Marlene Davenport, pharmacist, about quality sleep. Stay with us.
Somewhere at the corner of bewildered and confused is a lost mother, father, sibling, grandparent. Wandering is a common symptom of Alzheimer's and related dementias, and can often make those who care for a loved one feel just as lost. If you're looking for a place that's safe and secure, look to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia, Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CaregiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back to Caregiver Solutions Info Show. My name is Marcia Teele. Today we're talking about quality sleep, and caregivers definitely, more than most people, need quality sleep. You're always taking care of someone, worried about them, stressing out about them. Even when you go to bed, you're keeping an eye and ear open, trying to find out if you need to get up and care for somebody. So my guest today is Marlene Davenport. She's joining me from her home office in Pensacola, Florida. She is a doctor of pharmacy. She was educated in Ecuador, practices pharmacy here in the United States. She not only is a pharmacist, but she is a health and life coach, as well as a teacher, and as well as an entrepreneur. So come back to us, Marlene. We want to hear more, and please tell us more about the sleep problems that most people have, especially caregivers. And, I guess we want to talk about what's the ideal time that most people should be sleeping.
She's frozen. She's frozen.
Oh, okay. Well, it looks like my guest is frozen via the internet. We don't know what is going on, but we can have her call in. So we'll go to a commercial break and get her to be calling into the show so we can talk to Marlene more about this important subject. We'll be with you in one moment. Thank you.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Feelings of depression, isolation, and frustration are common among persons living with Alzheimer's or related dementias. It's common among those who care for them, too. It takes a lot of patience and courage. It also takes knowing when you can no longer do it alone. At Arden Courts, memory care is all we do. Talk to us. We know.
We understand. We can help. Don't let guilt keep you from making the right decision. Visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Is about sleep. All need sleep, but especially why caregivers need sleep. It's something to get a bad night's sleep once in a while, but chronic sleep deprivation is very, very common to a lot of caregivers. They're always awake worrying about the person they're caring for, and it is becoming a problem. And so today we're going to be talking to Marlene Davenport. She's calling in. Apparently a terrible storm in Pensacola, Florida has knocked out her internet, and that happens sometimes. So she's going to be joining us via telephone from her home office there in Pensacola. Marlene Davenport is a pharmacist trained in Ecuador, and now here in the United States is working as a pharmacist, and she's joining us now on the telephone. Hello, Marlene, are you there?
Yes, Marcia. Sorry, I cannot control the storms.
Well, if you could, then I'd be more impressed with you than I already am. So we're talking about sleep and the difficulty that people have sleeping, and sometimes, they go to medications, and that sometimes might work, but over the long haul, it's not good for them because obviously medications do have certain side effects. But while we're talking about sleep, describe what, in your opinion, is the ultimate time, hours of sleep that someone should be getting every night.
Yeah, we should be looking to sleep 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That is healthy. Over 9 hours, it's called hypersomnia, and it's also as bad as sleeping less than 7 hours. There are people that sleep 6 to 7 hours, and they have healthy lifestyles. We could say that they could try. I was actually sleeping 6 hours a day until I studied more about sleep, and now I am actually sleeping from 7 to 9 hours. So that's good. But people have more cardiovascular problems, high cholesterol levels, blood sugar not controlled, weight gain. So there are many things that happen to people that sleep less than, especially less than 6 hours, is critical. But 7 to 9 is the best.
So I'm curious about the metabolics of it all. And you mentioned that people that don't get good sleep on a regular basis, that they can be gaining weight. Is there a physical reason for that, or is it because they happen to be awake and so they just keep eating and munching and snacking the whole time that they're not sleeping?
Yeah, the thing is that during our sleep, all our organs work in, especially the liver and the brain, detoxing the body, And when, for example, the liver has, every organ has their own time that they work the best. And the liver works, for example, from 1 to 3 in the morning. And so when the liver is working properly, it's the chemical of the body, and the person gets more. I'm sorry, I feel like we're talking on the phone, but the person the glucose is when we eat, the glucose is supposed to go to the muscles and to the liver to get stored. And when we don't have proper sleep, we tend to the pancreas, it doesn't work as well, and we have insulin resistance. So the insulin doesn't work as well, taking the glucose from the bloodstream to the cells and to the liver. Does it make sense?
Yes. And it's amazing that people really don't get the big picture of what, when we're sleeping, what it's doing for our bodies and what happens during sleep, and how all the different organs are, like you say, detoxing, cleansing themselves, fixing, the cells, even in our brain, kind of going through the files of our brain and doing what the hippocampus does with memory and storing long-term memory and short-term memory. It's amazing that we were born to sleep. I mean, if people would take the example of newborn babies, look how much newborn babies sleep. They practically sleep, 20 hours of the day because their body needs that to help them to grow and to do all the things that, newborn babies need in this new world. And so we all need the sleep. But people say, well, and tell me if you think this is a myth, but that the older we get, people maybe in their 80s or 90s, is it true that they require less sleep, or is it just that they're just not getting it? Is that a fallacy, or should everyone, no matter what age they are, be getting 7 to 9 hours?
You know that everyone, the thing is that when we get older, it is true that the melatonin, we produce less melatonin. Less melatonin is released from the body. That is true. You know, teenagers sleep like 9 hours to 10 hours, 11 hours for teenagers is okay. But they need more sleep because they are in development of their bodies. But for older people, it is possible. What happens? It is possible to sleep more. What happens is that people don't exercise, don't go out into the sun, and then the melatonin. You know, the first thing for the melatonin to be released correctly is when we get enough sunlight. It is said that in the United States, the average person takes 20 minutes of sunlight a day, when we need at least 1 hour of sunlight a day. And we are watching, using blue light at night and on the computer and on the TV. It is very common, people watching TV until 12 o'clock, people having the TV in their bedroom. So all of that causes that the melatonin gets suppressed, and then the circadian rhythm, which is the biological clock that we all have, is our biological clock, then it gets altered. And then the melatonin, cortisol is produced at night, and they are unable to sleep, and it goes on and on. But definitely, it is possible to improve sleep. I have proven with myself. Yeah.
Wow. So I think most people have heard of insomnia, right? The can't fall asleep. And I guess you would call that a sleep disorder. Are there other types of sleep disorders?
Yeah, we can classify the insomnia into two forms of insomnia. When people cannot fall asleep, so it is sleep onset insomnia. And then when people wake up in the middle of the night and cannot go back to sleep, it's a chronic insomnia, And we also can have problems with insomnia when we don't breathe well. So we are supposed to breathe through the nose. And I don't know if you have noticed that some people are sleeping and they are with the mouth open. It means that they are not breathing through the nose, but through the mouth. And that is very important we can help ourselves learn to breathe through the mouth, exercising during the day, breathing, and there are other, but of course they need to be evaluated by a doctor, because there are some things that help for people that sleep with the mouth open. They are not getting proper sleep because they are not breathing well. The oxygen is not going enough oxygen to the body to support all the processes that take care inside our body when we sleep. And also the sleep apnea, when people breathe but not enough oxygen again is going through the lungs.
Well, you're making me want to take deep breaths right now. Just talking about it, taking some.
Ourselves.
Yeah, we want to take some deep breaths, and sometimes people are not aware that they have sleep apnea. So if someone lives alone, or that maybe they had a spouse that's passed and now they're living alone, they could actually have some form of sleep apnea and not know it, and that can be depriving them of enough oxygen, which makes them tired, makes them not being able to function as well. And so if someone is very, very tired and fatigued and they don't know why, that might be a reason to get, again, like you said, checked out by a doctor. There are different stages of a sleep cycle. Does everyone always go through the same stages? And if you skip a stage, what's the consequence of that?
Yeah, we have to be aware of There is 4 to 6 cycles at night, and each one lasts from 90 to 120 minutes. And so when we understand the cycles, we want to go to bed early, like 10:30 to be in bed, because the first stage lasts like a few minutes, and when your breath goes and your heart rate goes down. And second, we have also the two first stages are light sleep, and we can be woken up at a time. In this time, as I said, the breathing and heart rate slows down, but then it comes the third stage and the fourth stage that are deep sleep. We need to get to this deep sleep because in deep sleep is when the brain and the body get healed, when the memory storages, when there is hormone regulation, detoxing, there is muscle repair, immune regulation, and some people, for example, when they drink alcohol at night, the liver is digesting that alcohol, or people that eat too late at night, the digestive system is working while they should be detoxing, and so the body cannot perform the task of detoxing and healing when we are going to bed like at 11 or 12, because the deep sleep happens especially between 1 or 2 in the morning. So if we are not in bed early enough, the whole process gets delayed, and we also don't reach the REM sleep is shorter because we are awakened with an alarm. So we don't get a restful night of sleep.
Wow, that's some really, really good points there. So we all want to pay attention to that. We're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm going to be sharing with everyone a way to get a free book called The 36-Hour Day. It's a wonderful resource for caregivers, so get a piece of paper and a pencil ready, and I'll be sharing with you how to get this free book as soon as we come back. Stay with us.
Arden Court's memory care community has the expertise and experience to simplify and enhance your loved one's life and to protect you, finding the peace of mind you deserve. Come, see the difference in a facility like Arden Courts that is 100% dedicated to Alzheimer's and dementia care can have on your loved one. Call us at 888-478-2410 or visit our website, arden-courts.com. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Arden Courts, our national sponsor. Arden Courts is a leader when it comes to memory care. They are an assisted living for memory care only, and they have about, actually over 50 locations throughout the United States. Arden Courts would like to give you, the family caregiver, this book just for tuning into this program as a way to show you that they care about you and they are a great resource for you. The way to get this book is just by sending an email to delray at arden-courts.com. That's DELRAY at arden, ARDEN, -courts, COURTS.com. Just say that you saw the offer on the Caregiver Solution Info Show. Give us your name, your address, and your phone number, and that you'd like to get the 36-Hour Day book, and they will be very happy to mail it directly to you. Again, I would highly recommend this if you're a family caregiver or if you are an adult child and maybe one of your parents is caring for your other parent. This is a great way to help understand what's going on in the life life of not only a caregiver, but what happens to a person that actually is going through the different stages of dementia. So it's a great resource, and get your book now. If you don't have this, it would be really glad that you did. And put it on your shelf and grab it whenever you can take a minute to read. Or if you're lucky enough to have some extra time as a caregiver, you can sit and read this, because it will help you on your caregiving journey. Today we're talking about sleep for not only everyone, but especially for caregivers, because caregivers really have problems sleeping because of all the duties that they have to do, and they don't usually take care of themselves the way that they should. And my guest today is Marlene Davenport. She is a pharmacist. She is from Ecuador and currently now in the United States working in pharmacy. She graduated from the university in Ecuador with a biochemistry and pharmacy degree, a doctorate there. And I'm so happy to have her join us via telephone from her home office in Pensacola. Thank you, Marlene, for joining us. We've been talking about sleep and the problems with sleep. Do you have any tips that you could give people about how they could improve their sleep if they're not sleeping well?
Yeah, definitely. The best thing we can do is to align with our circadian rhythm, which is our biological clock. So, as you know, in our ancestors, they did not have computers or lights even. So they would align with the sun. So they would get up when the sun comes out and, go to bed early at night. So what I recommend is first to start the day. Start the day exposing yourself to the sunlight, and also doing some exercise, meditation, stretching, and then looking what you eat, because also our bacteria in our intestine are connected directly with our brain. And so when we don't eat vegetables, we can be depleted of minerals that are in the soil, minerals and vitamins. And the sad diet is that a diet without vegetables and fruit. So then the standard American diet is called the sad diet because of a lack of fruit and vegetables. So another thing that we could do is get some exercise, some movement. It is better. The best time to do exercise is in the morning, and actually the Association of Sleep Disorders call for exercise every day, at least 3 times a day, at least 150 minutes, so to have more, to have better sleep. And also disconnect at night from all the iPhone, the computer, the iPad, and at least an hour before bed. That's for adults. For children, it's said that they should disconnect at least 2 to 3 hours before going to bed, because otherwise the brain is stimulated and produces cortisol instead of melatonin, which is the hormone that helps sleep.
Wow. So I just want to go back to something that you said about our gut, that what we eat or don't eat can actually affect the quality of our sleep?
Yeah, definitely. When, for example, if we don't have iron, that is in vegetables, iron or vitamin D, that we need the sun for vitamin D. They definitely cause problems with sleep. The lack of iron, for example, causes restless leg syndrome. That is another thing why people keep awake at night. The magnesium, for example, that is a relaxant, is a muscle relaxant. So if a lack of magnesium gives problems of sleep, for example, the vitamins B also, cause more anxiety. The GABA is a neurotransmitter that is like the natural Xanax. If we don't eat vegetables, we are depleted on GABA also. So that's what is very important to have a diet rich in vegetables, protein, and so we have enough minerals to keep us going.
Wow. So, really it sounds like, it's a balance, it's a lifestyle, and we all hear about we should eat well and we should exercise, but I think the third leg of the stool is quality sleep, because truly they all interact with each other and they all have, seems from what you're saying, an effect on each other. And so to be healthy and balanced, we need to really take on each of those legs of that stool in order to be healthy, happy, and whole. Is that right?
Yeah, and actually, Marcia, I'm telling you that if we put exercise, nutrition, so sleep is more important than nutrition and exercise for quality of life. Because a lack of sleep can produce depression, anxiety, because your brain has not been resetted, your brain has not been detoxed when you don't sleep well. So then you get depressed, you get moody, you go to work and you have problems in relationships in your house and at work, and it comes from sleep.
So that relates to caregiving. I mean, that was a great explanation that you just described. A lot of caregivers who are taking care of someone, maybe that has dementia, or maybe someone even just physically unable to take care of themselves. But if they're not getting sleep, they're getting depressed and they're getting fatigued and they're getting anxious. And a lot of the things that caregivers go through, it sounds like sleep could actually help them to reduce all of these different types of problems they're having.
Yeah, of course, sleep disturbance symptoms are very common in people living with Alzheimer's disease. And over 50% of people with severe dementia have disrupted sleep. So studies show that caregivers awake 2.3 times during the night versus 1.2 for control persons. So caregivers get awake earlier than non-caregivers, and their sleep time is shorter. So Alzheimer's caregivers frequently experience high level of stress and burnout, which leads to insomnia, and insomnia leads to anxiety and depression. If a person doesn't have quality of sleep, the brain does not detox, and the person is more in distress and less alert during the day. And also something that is, I'm talking about depression. When you are taking care of a loved one, sometimes you forget about yourself. You withdraw from your friends and activities that used to make you feel good. It contributes to the stress and poor quality of sleep, and it goes in a cycle. So I recommend caregivers, find a way to continue with those relationships. Relationships is big for people to be in a better mood, to be happier, to sleep better, which will help the person be more alert and be more there for the person, for the loved one that needs to be taken care of.
Absolutely. That's very good advice. So would you say that if people have chronic insomnia, they're not sleeping, they're not getting the proper hours of sleep, can that actually be dangerous to themselves, or actually can it be dangerous to other people that are around them?
Absolutely. As I said, the distress and alertness, less alertness when they haven't slept well, and also they are, it is dangerous, and some people, in their desperation, as we were talking about before, they take over-the-counter medication, which causes drowsiness the following day. And when it doesn't work, because as I said, sometimes after a while they don't work as much, as good as they did, so they go to the other medications, and they even have more side effects. Even people can, while sleeping, they can walk, they can eat, and also it's very dangerous because of the car accidents that people that have been taking medications for sleep. That's why I always recommend to look at what time am I going to bed. Some people have the misunderstanding that relaxation is watching TV, and at night it's not true. It's completely the opposite. The TV, any electronics are reducing the melatonin, and so therefore people don't sleep well. Even if they fall asleep, they don't get into the deep sleep where the body is detoxing and healing.
So rather than watching TV to relax because of how it affects our quality of sleep, what would you recommend people to do to relax at night?
Yeah, breathing exercises. As long as it is before dinner, is recommended. Any kind of exercise. It's better before dinner because after dinner, it's said that it wakes you up. It stimulates your brain. We don't want to stimulate our brain when it's time to sleep. Board games if it's possible to play with the family, talking. Just hanging out is much. Reading a good book, something that makes you feel good. But breathing and meditation, praying, all of those, writing. Sometimes caregivers have so many things on their plate, and there's a list that looks like it's never going to end. Worries and concerns. So it's good to have a journal and put on paper all those concerns, and it helps them relax. And as I say, watch out. If you are not able to sleep before taking medications, look what is missing in your body. Maybe minerals, maybe vitamins, maybe sunlight, maybe exercise. Those things that definitely impact your sleep.
Right. Well, I think that's a great recommendation to write down before you go to bed, to write in a journal, write down maybe what you have on your mind, maybe things that you're thinking of that you need to do, because once it's on paper, then maybe you can forget about it until the morning and get to sleep instead of just laying there thinking about those things all night long. So that's excellent advice for caregivers. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to finish up with Marlene Davenport, pharmacist and health and life coach, and regarding sleep. So you won't want to miss the end. So you can learn how to contact Marlene if you're having trouble sleeping. We'll be right back.
Somewhere at the corner of bewildered and confused is a lost mother, a father, a sibling, a grandparent. Wandering is a common symptom of Alzheimer's or related dementias and can often make those who care for a loved one feel just as lost. If you're looking for a place that's safe and secure, look to Arden Courts. Memory care is all we do. We know, we understand, we can help. To learn more, visit arden-courts.com. Arden Courts follows equal housing opportunity guidelines.
You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on caregiversolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
Welcome back. My guest today is Marlene Davenport. She's a pharmacist and health and life coach from Pensacola, Florida, joining today talking about sleep. We were just talking before the break, Marlene, about how sleep can be detrimental to you as a caregiver and or to the person you're caring for. I just want to add something to you that you said about, not sleeping well is going to cause you not to be aware. And if you're a caregiver and you're driving your loved one somewhere and you're not aware, and that's why a lot of people have accidents. It might not be maybe from the medication. It could be from lack of sleep and getting sleepy, dozing off, just not having your reflexes really sharp and not seeing that stop sign or realizing the light had turned red. So it can be detrimental to your life with not sleeping. Also, if you're a caregiver and you're not sleeping, your patience is going to be low, and you're not going to have the patience it takes to deal with the situations ahead of you, with a person with dementia. And it certainly takes a lot of patience sometimes in different situations. And you also are not going to be as energetic to do the things you need to do to keep up with all of the duties and all of the activities that are needed. So I want to thank you, Marlene, for all of that information. Marlene, if someone is listening to you and they're relating to what you have to say regarding sleep, and they're saying, that sounds like me, maybe I should be investigating this, is there a way that they can contact you and you could maybe give them some help?
Sure. My phone number is 850-304-1387. They can also contact me on my email, H as in health, L as in life, at Marlene Coach. Marlene is MarleneCoach.com.
Wonderful. And can you give that telephone number one more time, please?
Sure. 850-304-1387.
Thank you so much. Well, Marlene, you, as a pharmacist, trained and have your doctorate in biochemistry and working as a pharmacist for many, many years, you do help a lot of people, and you can explain things about different medications and medications that can help sleep and medications that will not help sleep. And you also have made another kind of life choice, becoming a coach and helping people to empower them to change their lifestyle for the quality of life. And so you've become a health and life coach, and I think that's marvelous. And, there are a lot of people that really need that type of information. We don't know what we don't know. And I know it's your mission to help people to make those changes. And what would you like to say to everyone regarding having a health and life coach, and how can that be beneficial to someone?
Yeah, it is said that the more a person needs to change, the harder is to take the first step. So the life coach or health and life coach is like the cheerleader, like the support, like I hold the hand of my client to achieve their goals, but taking little steps at a time, because it is not easy. There are some people that may have a big will, but not everyone does it. So a habit is hard to change, and we need support and we need accountability. So I am the accountability partner for my client. And wherever we are right now, we can improve every day a little bit. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And sometimes we don't see that light, and we get depressed and we get into medications. But when we, as a pharmacist, of course I sell medications, and they are needed when there is a crisis, right? But when we start changing some habits, many of the diseases, chronic diseases, we can improve drastically by changing the habits. So, but it's hard. But so the coach helps the person be accountable and achieve the goals, either in health or in their life.
Well, that's wonderful. And you do such a great job at it. And I'm so glad that you were on the show today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thank you so much for having me here. But the storm didn't let us do the on video, but it's I'm glad and I'm happy to be here, Marcia. Thank you for inviting me.
You're so welcome. We hope to talk to you again sometime. And thank you all for tuning in for the Caregiver Solution Info Show today, talking about sleep and the importance for everyone, especially caregivers. And so we hope that you'll join us next week. We have another new show for you. Until then, I wish you well. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver